Howdy, guys, and welcome to an overnight feed recap of night number 19 inside the Big Brother Season 24 house. And welcome to Cliff Notes. A good Monday to y'all, guys. All right, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Such an incredible overnight of conversations as we've got part of the house trying to flip the votes, change everything up. We've got this evening's, last night's recaps, a little bit more chill for two reasons. One, because they've got the backyard for the last night, so everyone's trying to enjoy that. You always chill out a little bit more when you got the backyard. Two, because the people in this house who are about to be the most affected by this flip that's getting ready to happen, the most affected by the Leftovers Alliance, are oblivious to everything that's getting ready to happen. I guarantee once we have the veto ceremony today, there's going to be a whole lot more fireworks. But we did have some conversations last night worth talking about. So let's get into that and talk about that. Now, first of all, a little bit of a recap, a little bit of a refresher. Today is veto ceremony. We'll see what happens there. But Brittany and Michael won the veto competition on Saturday, so they'll be pulling themselves off the block, which means Turner's going to have to put someone else up. The expectation it's going to be Taylor and Nicole, but that's not the plan. It's actually going to be Amira and Terrence instead. That's the plan by this new alliance, the Leftovers. They'll put up Terrence and Amira. They'll send Amira out the door. They're going to be talking about blindsides. Sometimes we say blindsides, but people kind of find out. So far, at least, this one, absolutely 180-degree flip, a heck of a blindside. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. All right. So as I mentioned, house guests got in the backyard, so they spent a lot of time outside talking, very non-game talk. So we're really not going to cover too much of that, but a lot of non-game conversations. But while they're all in the backyard doing that, Taylor was spending a lot of time in bed in the golf bedroom, just hanging out, moping around a little bit. But it's part of the plan. They don't want anyone to catch on that Taylor knows that she's going to be safe. So she's pretty much been just acting, the moping around and everything like that. So it's kind of fun to see. She talks to the camera at one point and says that after Amira goes, her next targets are Daniel and then Nicole. Taylor sees some life now in this game. It's tough when you're in there where you just think, God, even if I survive this week, next week it's going to be the same thing. You just week-to-week survival gets a little tough. Taylor finally has an opportunity to see a little bit longer-term plan. Now, whether it plays out or not, we don't know yet, but at least she's having the opportunity to think ahead and figure out maybe what she wants to do as part of this new Leftovers Alliance group. So she's in bed. She's feeling good. She says at one point, I think it's to Brittany maybe, she says, yeah, all these people are coming to talk to me. Suddenly they seem a lot nicer. It's because they know I'm going, or they think I'm going home. So that was pretty funny. All right, another conversation or two. We got Michael talking to Monty. Michael's giving Monty a heads up. He says, look, Nicole thinks that you may be former military, former law enforcement. She doesn't believe that you're a personal trainer. She thinks there's a lot more to be warned. She's going to be interrogating you later. She's just bound and determined to find out what you actually do for a living. So just give you the heads up, which I thought was pretty funny. Later, Kyle tells Monty that Nicole is doing this because she's trying to paint a target on Monty and Joseph for a little bit later. So she's this interrogation, this actual job, hidden secrets and all. It's all just part of trying to make Monty and Joseph just a little bit bigger target for the other side. All right, we've got Brittany and Taylor talking. This is the golf room again, talking about how great the veto ceremony is going to be today. And I agree, it's going to be fantastic. I wish we could watch it on the live feeds, but we can't. We'll see the aftermath and then we'll see it on the episode Wednesday, I guess. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. There's talk about how confident the other side is right now, but Taylor says, yeah, but they're be kissing some asses here before too long. Yeah, I think they may. Things change quick in the Big Brother house. All right, we've got Joseph telling Taylor that he's saying, Taylor, look, everyone keeps telling me that you're going home and that if we're wrong and that you're actually a good person, that hopefully you can convince everyone in your exit interview. People are just so certain the way things are going to go this week. And so, Taylor's hearing this. Yeah, convince everyone that you're actually a good person during your exit interviews. That's pretty rough. Well, Taylor doesn't have to worry about that for a little while. All right, we've got Terrence and Michael and Brittany all in the backyard talking. They're wondering what twist awaits the survivor of Thursday night's eviction. Whether that's Nicole, whether that's Terrence, either one, depending on which side's talking. But they're wondering what's going to happen to such a. Terrence thinks it's going to be Nicole. How shocked is he going to be when he finds out that he's the sole survivor on this vote, and whatever twist, whatever power, penalty, whatever it is, I think it's going to be Terrence's at this point in time. We don't know yet what that twist is going to be either. Julie Chen has not explained it to us. But they're thinking it could be bad, like whoever is left after the person is voted home, the duo partner that's left becomes the nominee for the next week, a third nominee. I'm not seeing it. I don't think it's going to be that strong, but it is interesting that after this week, we will have an odd number of house guests. So someone's going to be not in a duo. And I'm thinking it'll either be the HOH going forward or the survivor, one or the other, may not be in a duo. We'll find out on Thursday. All right. We've got Nicole and Taylor talking in the Jetsons room. You know, there's a lot more conversations going on with Taylor suddenly. We've got Nicole and Taylor in the Jetsons room talking. Now, this was interesting because remember, there was a big blow up. Was it Sunday morning? Big blow up. Nicole came out of the diary room crying. Taylor tried to console her, thinking it may have something to do with Nicole's mom. Taylor said something along the lines of, hey, if you have to leave the game because of your mom, people will understand. I think she meant it with the best of intentions, but Nicole either intentionally or unintentionally took it the wrong way, took it as Nicole or Taylor suggesting that she should quit the game, and that's what she told Daniel. Then Daniel blew up on Taylor because of that and said, oh, you're one of the reasons Paloma went home, and it just turned into a big kerflaw. That's a word for the day, right? Anyway, so Taylor and Nicole are going to have a conversation, try to work it out. Kind of like to see right here. Taylor starts off with apologies. She says, look, I apologize if the words I used weren't correct or if it came off the wrong way. I was just trying to be supportive of you. That was all I was trying to do. I didn't mean that I wanted you to quit. I just meant that, you know, with your mom, that I am your partner on the duo. And if somehow your quitting affected me, I'm okay with it, because, you know, family's important. And so she's explaining herself very well. And it makes perfect sense to me. But Nicole ends up saying, you know, I get it, okay, and everything. But she also saying, look, I didn't know when I told Daniel, when I told my friends about it, I didn't know he'd blow up the way he did. And so just, I didn't want it to go the way it did. But Nicole's also telling Taylor, saying, look, you know, going forward, just be more aware about what you say and how you say it and everything. I don't think what she said was that bad. I get it. When you talk about someone quitting, everyone's so stressed in there, you may take it the wrong way, but looking back on it, it wasn't one of those biggest things that have occurred in the house. But anyway, Nicole's saying, just be more aware going forward. She's also telling Taylor says, look, can I ask you something else? Do you think I was responsible for Paloma going home? And Taylor says, no, I don't think it was you. I know you better. I've heard stuff said about you, but I've never witnessed it. No, I don't think so. So they're kind of making amends as best as possible. Now, apparently later, Nicole then tells Amir and Jasmine about this conversation and laughs about how Taylor fell for it, that she believed everything Nicole was saying. So, yeah, that's what I get for what it's worth. I certainly think Taylor was being sincere in her conversation. Nicole, maybe not so much. But again, at the end of the day, Taylor's also ready to boot Nicole out of here just as much as Nicole wants to boot Taylor. So, you know, one of those kind of conversations. All right, we got Kyle and Monty in the storage room. Kyle is saying, I thought this conversation was interesting. A good little bit of strategy. Kyle's saying, look, we need to tell everyone about this POPAC alliance, Pooh's posse, Paloma's posse, whatever you want to call it. Saying we need to tell everyone, because when Amir ends up on the block, she's going to be trying to split the votes up. She's going to be revealing everything she knows. She's going to tell everyone else in the Leftovers Alliance that you and I were part of this POPAC alliance, just as a way to create paranoia, uncertainty. So we need to get ahead of the curve. Why don't we tell everyone first so that no one is surprised? I think that's smart, because you know Amir is going to do it, right? Of course. All right, so they mentioned that they need to go ahead and start telling everyone about some of the secrets that Amir is they anticipate spilling the beans on. All right, in the backyard, we've got Indy in the backyard, we've got Indy saying, oh, let's do an all-girl selfie. We got to do an all-girl selfie. Well, she ends up taking a selfie pic of all the girls together and smiling and everything, except for Brittany and Taylor, who are off to the side watching as they then look at all the photos and talk about how great they look and everything else. Those two definitely notice and are aware that they aren't part of this girls alliance, whether it's an alliance or just a clique or whatever. It's just a sign of a little too much confidence inside that house that they are so oblivious to Taylor and Brittany's emotions and actions and everything else. They're going to pay the price for it down the road. All right, we've got Jasmine talking about that she was found on Instagram. That's how Big Brother tracked her down, a recruit. So I don't know if it'd been said before. I think had been, but Jasmine was definitely recruited. We've got Daniel telling Terrence that Indy will be the next person to go out the door after Taylor because one, she's too much to take. And two, he mentions Indy flirts with all these guys over here and she's going to get too close to him. We got to get her out before that happens. So Daniel's identifying his targets as well. We've got Michael telling Brittany about the POPAC. Again, going back to the conversation he and Monty had in the storage room. He's telling Brittany, saying, look, there was this alliance that I got brought into. And he says, I never took it too seriously because I was brought in after Paloma was gone. It was very obvious that I was the sixth person out of six. So I just don't, never thought that was where I wanted to go, but I wanted to tell you ahead of time. And Brittany seems pretty cool with it. And she turns around and says, no, that's fine. And also, just so you know, there is a girls alliance. And she says, I'm kind of the same way. I'm part of it as well, but I'm very much, or I was part of it. But she said, I very much knew I was on the bottom the whole time. And I think at one point she says, I think it's still there. They just aren't including me in it at all. So Michael and Brittany have spilled the beans to each other, and they're both fine with it. They understand that you don't say no to alliance offers, and you go along with whatever. But I think they're both very comfortable that their true loyalty lies with each other and with this leftovers alliance. And absolutely the case for Brittany. Michael, I think Michael's still feeling around a little bit, but I do think for the most part, he certainly is a little bit more loyal to Brittany and certainly to the new alliance as well. All right, we've got Brittany feeling pretty good about the leftovers. I'm still talking to Michael. She's feeling pretty good about this new leftovers alliance, but she is worried that if the other side gets power next week as HOH, that either putting up her and Michael again as nominees or putting up Monty and Joseph as nominees, that there is some risk involved. And that's true. Either one of them could potentially go up if the other side gets HOH. It's a beauty. It's the beauty about Big Brother. At this point in time, you got a couple of strong alliances. So much of how the rest of the season goes is going to be dependent upon who's in power on a week-to-week basis and how this twist works, which we're still waiting to find out. All right, we've got Brittany feeling bad that Amir is such a good player, and yet it looks like going to go home pre-jury. Michael, not so much. Michael saying, look, I don't feel that bad, especially the fact that that Amir was recruited off of LinkedIn. So yet another recruit that we're hearing about. Now, I've never heard about someone on LinkedIn getting recruited, but hey, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, go set one up. You never know who's out there looking. But he's saying, yeah, you know what? She was recruited on LinkedIn. She's not a true passionate fan. Of course, both of these people are. And so they're saying, yeah, someone else that really wanted to be on the show, a super fan, didn't get to because Amira came in here. So he's saying, yeah, I'm okay if she goes home pre-jury. I think Brittany is too as well. She's just being a little empathetic with it. All right, we got Jasmine telling Alyssa that she thinks they're going to Final Five. We'll make it to Final Five. Yeah, we'll see what she thinks after today's veto ceremony. If she still thinks the Final Five is going to be as easy as she thinks. At one point, Amira apparently talking about that she was recruited from Instagram, talked about how easy it is. She said, yeah, coming in, I didn't know that much about the game, how it works and everything. I thought it was going to be really hard, but I get in here, it's easy. Well, they may be thinking differently real quick. All right, we've got the leftovers in the kitchen. See what I did there? Yeah, the leftovers alliance is in the kitchen, meeting everyone in the alliances there except for Joseph. I feel like Joseph is just kind of the wrangler, keeping the rest of the house away from these people when they meet, because sometimes he's not there, but he's certainly a member. But the leftovers are meeting in the kitchen. They're saying that once Amira's name comes up at the veto ceremony, that Amira is going to start campaigning and pitching and telling every secret that she knows about everyone. And so they're just warning each other that the other side's going to do everything they need to split this group up. They need to be ready for it. Taylor says, I'm all in. Yeah, guys, we're good to go. Brittany is talking about spilling some beans and everything. Brittany's telling Taylor, saying, look, for whatever reason, the girls just don't seem to like you. They've referred to you as a guy's girl instead of a girl's girl. So it just, they just haven't liked you. And she says they've said even, last week that, oh, we'll get Pooch out. We'll just get Taylor out next week. She said they completely discount you. They figure you're an easy target. So there's, just because they didn't send you home last week doesn't mean there's not any huge attraction. So just so you know. Taylor's talking about the fact that Nicole is absolutely positive that she and Taylor are going on the block today at the veto ceremony. She just, Nicole thinks it's just not going to be her going home. Michael is saying that Nicole told her that she is the only person that Taylor has in the house. Well, Taylor's got a few more supporters and alliance members at this point in time. All right. Amira and Daniel and Michael are talking in the Jetsons room. Amira asks, Michael says, so who's Turner going to put up at the veto ceremony? Michael plays it cool, says, I don't know. I haven't really talked to him. He's been out there asleep. I don't really know. And I assume I know. And Amira immediately says, yeah, I think the whole house pretty much knows what's going to happen. No one's even been asking him because we know how it's going to go. And she thinks that Taylor's probably going to go home on probably a unanimous 11-0 vote. She doesn't think anyone will support Taylor. It's a foregone conclusion. Well, let's have a conversation here in a few days. All right, we've got Alyssa and Turner are playing checkers. Eventually, Turner tries to teach Alyssa. I'm a popular guy. Eventually, Turner tries to teach Alyssa how to play chess. That doesn't go so well. But Alyssa's saying that she kind of feels bad about Taylor, that she's going to go home this week and everything else. Turner stays pretty quiet. He knows otherwise, but he's not spilling the beans to Alyssa. All right, we've got Monty and Michael and Taylor all talking. Michael's wondering if Amira is going to start spiraling when she finds out that she's going on the block. Taylor's saying, well, she's kind of already started her already, and there's some people that seem like they're getting a little fed up with Amira a little bit. And I have noticed watching the feeds, Amira, she always pays attention, but she suspects that something may not be quite right. And she's being very cautious anytime she sees people meeting that aren't part of her direct group, challenging people, all things like that. So they are suspecting Amira may have a difficult time over the next few days. They're curious to see how she's going to respond once she goes on the block. Taylor is saying that she's already starting to. Joseph is saying that people are already talking. He didn't say who, but I assume the other side, Jasmine and Amir and people like that, saying that people are already talking about what they're going to say in Taylor's goodbye message. Well, I hope they memorize it because it may be a little further down the road before they need to actually use it. All right. Can y'all tell I'm a little excited about the veto ceremony and the way the rest of this week is going to go? I am. All right, Daniel and Nicole are in the Jetsons room talking. Nicole is saying that Indy and Taylor are the kind of girls that are why she never has or has never had female friends. Nicole's saying they smile to your face and then they talk behind your back. Pot, let me introduce you to Kettle. Y'all need to hang out together because birds of a feather, so to speak, right? Yeah, Nicole's been doing her fair share of smiling and talking behind a few people's backs as well. All right, Daniel, lots of conversations about what secrets people may actually have. Earlier, Nicole was saying she thought that Monty was a law enforcement or something, military. Daniel's talking about Joseph. He thinks Joseph's a firefighter. He thinks Monty's a race car driver. How tall for NASCAR, I think. How tall is Monty? 6'3", 6'4"? I don't think most race car drivers that size easily fit into those little tiny cars. So I don't know, but he thinks he's a race car driver. Later, Amira's talking about the fact that she thinks Monty's a football player, that there's more to him than he's let on. We've got Amir and Alyssa outside. These house guests stayed up all night long. Let me just say that. Amir and Alyssa are outside. They're talking about the showman's possibilities between Alyssa and Kyle, and Amir's encouraging it. She's saying, look, Kyle already told me he likes you. He's just worried about affecting y'all's gameplay if he gets too close. And Kyle's shy. He's shy, but he likes you, Alyssa. And she's saying, I'm going to call him over. I'm going to make this thing happen and all that. So that's pretty funny. But Amir is also saying that it works well that Kyle and Alyssa aren't a duo together. They're on separate duos, so they won't be at risk at the same time. But she's saying also that they are in the same alliance, so it makes sense that they should be hanging out together a little bit and all of that. Eventually, Amir says, I'm going to call him over and tell him to kiss you. So Amir is pushing this whole thing. Little does Amir realize that Kyle actually has used his closeness with Alyssa to get a little information and pass it on to the leftovers. So, yeah, there's maybe not so beneficial as Amir thinks for the two of them to be showmancing together. All right, eventually, Alyssa and Kyle do end up talking together by the pool table. And then later upstairs in the upstairs lounge, no real game talk that I mentioned. A lot of talk about dating and past dating experiences and things that would seem to be a little bit of a precursor to a showmance, but no real game talk that I noticed. We also have Monty and Brittany and Taylor and Michael in the backyard, also non-game talk. What kind of celebrities would you want to meet? Things like that. Again, these house guests just never sleep. We've got Daniel and Nicole in the Jetsons room. They are actually laying in bed, but they're not sleeping either. They're trying to figure out what's going to happen to Nicole. And I say that in parentheses because it's not going to be Nicole, it's going to be Terrence. But they're wondering what's going to happen to Nicole when Taylor goes home and Nicole's left as the only member of a duo. And again, they're thinking that she may become a third, Nicole's thinking she may be a third nominee or something really bad, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. All right, we've got Amira and Joseph in the backyard. They're talking about Taylor and Pooch and it just past history, past things that happened in the house, and nothing to really mention about because Joseph's just saying whatever Amir wants to hear. He's trashing Pooch, he's trashing Taylor. He's just saying what Amir's wanting to hear to keep Amir off the scent, so to speak. So yeah, they talk, but that's it. Finally, everyone in bed by 6 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. It just went on and on, but. There you have it, guys. So the main conversations or the main takeaways is that the other side doesn't know about the leftovers and what's planned. The leftovers are starting to try to make sure, spilling the beans with each other and everything else. It shows a certain loyalty and trust with each other. And they know that if they do that, it's going to keep the other side from revealing these secrets and somehow splitting them up. So they are planning ahead and coming together even stronger. And there you have it, guys. Today's the veto ceremony. I wish we could watch it live, but we'll see the after effects. And after effects, there will be, I guarantee it. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. I will be back Tuesday morning to talk all about what happens after we have some surprise guests on the eviction block this week. It's going to be a fun one. Guys, y'all have a great Monday. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Y'all have a great one. Bye.